Hello everyone, welcome. I'm sure by now you have heard that Estée Lauder has reformulated their iconic Double Wear Stay in Place foundation that launched in 1997. I started working in the beauty industry in 1996 as a makeup artist for Laura Mercier Cosmetics. So I was in the industry when this product came out. And I honestly couldn't even begin to count the amount of bottles I have purchased over the years. This was a very revolutionary product at the time. I have had oily skin my entire life. So when I heard that Estee Lauder was coming out with a foundation that was going to be long wearing, help to control oil, but not feel heavy on the skin, not look like a mask, I was sold. And over the years, I've learned that even people with drier skin have loved this foundation because of its extreme long wear. So to hear that this product has been reformulated was both shocking and a little scary. In this video, you are going to hear my honest thoughts on the new formulation of the Estée Lauder Double Wear. Not only will you be seeing a multiple day wear test, you will also be seeing a side-by-side comparison of the two. So hopefully this video is going to give you everything you need to make a decision on whether or not you want to go ahead and purchase the new formula, or if you want to go stock up on the old formula, maybe at the cosmetics company store, which are located at many outlet malls around the United States. The first question I had when I heard that Estée Lauder was reformulating this foundation was, why? Why are you doing this? Well, they did it for a couple of reasons. And when I heard one of the main reasons they were reformulating, I'll be honest with you, I got a little upset as a 52-year-old woman who has been dedicated to this foundation for, again, decades. Well, last week I met with a fellow beauty content creator who was actually at a meeting with Estée Lauder in New York City. She's a couple years older than I am, so they had her there basically to be the one representative of the mature age demographic. They had already reformulated the foundation. It wasn't like they were asking for how they should reformulate. They had already done it. They were just wanting to get people's opinions. She told me that at that meeting, they did in fact say that they were trying to capture the Gen Z audience.
What?
It is very frustrating as an older woman to see companies disregard loyal customers. In my humble opinion, they should have just made an entirely new foundation, kept the Estee Lauder Double Wear as is, and then maybe called this new one something else because it is different. Estee Lauder claims that it is a more breathable version of the foundation, more buildable, a full of life natural matte finish, niacinamide and hyaluronic acid for a hydrated, comfortable, and still very long-lasting finish. So they've added some skincare ingredients, some sort of polymer matrix that's supposed to make it more flexible with your skin, and now it comes in 70 shades. The shade I will be demoing today is 2W0 Warm Vanilla. This is the older version. I did not purchase the new version because, well, I just wasn't sure I was going to love it. And the foundation does retail for $52. So what I did is I went to the Estée Lauder counter and asked for a 7-day sample. I got mine from Dillard's. So in this demo, you are going to see my use of the sample. Now for day 1 and day 2, you're only going to see the check-ins, not the application. Day 3 is when you'll see the application. Side by side, old formula, new formula, same shade. This is day 1, and I did not use any primer underneath, just my regular skincare. Okay, you guys, this is bad. This is really bad. I'm in natural light right now. Look how red my nose is. Like, what happened to the coverage? It's completely gone. Around my nose, completely gone. Shine, like, out of control. The color match is still, fine, but wow. I am not happy. Okay, came over to different lighting, and I don't know what happened to the coverage. It's like I have a cold, and I blew my nose, or I've been blowing my nose for like the last 15 minutes, but I don't have a cold and I have not been blowing my nose. But where is the coverage? And why is my nose so red? And why am I so shiny? Day 2, freshly applied over a primer. Yeah, it looks nice. It looks fine right now, but it looked fine freshly applied yesterday too. So we'll see if the primer helps with the shine and the pores coming through. And yeah, I will check back in a few hours. 3-hour check-in. This is what we're looking like. I did get shiny with the original formula. It was never my go-to for shine control, even though it claimed to be shine controlling. It wasn't the most oil or shine controlling foundation I'd ever used, but I could always count on it for the longevity. And just like yesterday, it's not as bad, but just like yesterday, I did lose coverage around my nose and around this area right here. I was very, very careful to not touch my face the last few hours. I did eat lunch and I did use a napkin, but with the previous formula, the old formula, that didn't matter. I could touch my face with a napkin and the makeup would not come off. But I do feel like, I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but when I looked in my magnifying mirror, compared to other foundations that I use, and especially when I'm using one that is supposed to be super long wearing, I should not be losing the coverage. Sorry, my husband just let the dog out and now she's barking. But I think that's enough for this check-in. It's not great. I meant to do this check-in a lot earlier. This is about the 10 or 11 hour mark. And clearly I have not touched up with any powder. Yeah, I am still going to do the side-by-side tomorrow, but things are not looking good. To be fair, very few foundations look good on me at the 10 or still look good at the 10 or 11 hour mark if I haven't at least done some sort of touch up. But this foundation is supposed to be 36-hour wear. And I'm pretty sure that with the old formula at this point, it didn't do this. It didn't completely come off the nose area. It didn't feel like it sunk into my skin and brought the pores forward. I'm interested to see the side-by-side tomorrow, because without primer, with primer, this is just a thumbs down. This new formula gets a thumbs down from me. It's day 3 and time for the side-by-side comparison. Okay, I am really excited to do this test with the old double wear on one side and the new formula on the other. I'm going to try to do at least 2 check-ins. Today I'm going to use this blurring primer by YSL. You can use any blurring primer. Yesterday I used a different silicone-based primer. It was from Dolce & Gabbana. And now I'm using the YSL just in the T-zone. I have already applied, my morning skincare. All right, let's start with the old formula. Both are in the shade 2W0, Warm Vanilla. And this side of my face is my left side, where my mole is. When I do the check-ins, I will be using my iPhone, front camera, so the mole will be flipped. So keep that in mind. I've done these types of videos before where people have said, well, why did your mole switch sides? Well, my mole did not switch sides. It's just the camera flips the image. So the old formula, very nice, smooth, blendable consistency. I am going to be using the same style of brush, not the same brush, but the same style of brush. This is the It Cosmetics number 7 brush. It's one of my absolute favorites. So you see how easy that went on? Good color match for me. Blend it out very easily. Gave me about medium coverage because you can still see some of my skin coming through underneath. With the original double wear, you really don't want to go very heavy-handed. I've posted videos on the best way to apply Estée Lauder double wear. My good friend and fellow YouTuber Stephanie Marie has done several videos showing people the right way or the best way to apply Estee Lauder Double Wear. Now those videos have no relevance. Well, I know some people are still stocking up on the old formula, which is a good idea. Now I am going to be doing my concealer, adding a little powder to both sides. Just keep in mind, everything that I do to this side, I'm doing to this side as well. Now I've got my sample. It is 2W0 Warm Vanilla, same shade. I'm gonna put this on the back of my hand. The formula feels similar, but this one, the original, is a little bit less liquidy. This one is a lot more runny. And I'm gonna do the same thing and just make some dots. I got way too much on my hand. Now, I feel like this one is a little bit more yellow, but just a hair. And let's see, is the coverage different? Yeah, actually, I think you can tell on camera that this is slightly more yellow. I feel like my pores are more visible on the Estee Lauder side. I feel like my pores are more visible on the new side. But I'm gonna add a little bit more here. I need a little bit more on my nose. Other than it being slightly more yellow and my pores being a little bit more visible, it doesn't look that different. And I am looking very, very close up in a magnified mirror. I don't think it's gonna pick up on the camera because the camera's never gonna get like as close as I am to this mirror and see what I'm seeing, but my pores definitely look a lot more noticeable on the new formula side, unfortunately. And you saw I put the primer on both sides through my T-zone. Before I even go ahead and put any other makeup on, my concealer, powder, I'm going to grab my iPhone, go into some natural light, and assess it there. I have a little itch. And also, I want to give it a few minutes to see if this one oxidizes at all. Here I am in natural light, iPhone, old Double Wear, new Double Wear. The shade is the same. I don't think you would be able to tell that I was wearing two different foundations. I'll come back once I've completed my makeup for the first true, can't get my words out, the first true finished look. All right, the full beat is on and this is what we're looking like. I will check in with you in about 3 or 4 hours. Okay, I've had the foundation on now for about 3 hours and I'm back in natural lighting. I just went to my vanity and looked in that lighting with a 7 times magnification mirror. And I don't know if it's coming up on camera. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't really see what's happening here. Obviously I can see it, but I can't, see up close that well, or the details. But when I looked in my magnifying mirror, I felt like this side was shinier and my texture, my pores were coming through a lot clearer on this side than this side. So that's a bummer, but it's no different from what I've seen the past 2 days when I've worn this foundation alone. I knew this was going to happen because every time I looked in the mirror the past 2 days, I thought to myself, I just feel shinier than with the original formula. And I just feel like my texture is not as smooth or my pores are more visible. And this is just proving me right. I'm bummed. And this right here, if you're noticing this, it's from my glasses. But the coverage is still there. I'm just shiny and, well, I guess maybe the coverage isn't still there since the pores are more visible. So it's losing coverage. The pores are coming through. I'm just really bummed. This was at about the 7-hour mark. My son had some people over and it was kind of loud, so that's why I decided to do a voiceover. But as you can see, I am super shiny. As I said earlier, Double Wear was never my go-to for shine control. So that's not what's really bothering me. That's not really what I'm noticing about the side by side. I'm just noticing the lack of staying power with the new formula. Okay, after all of that, what are my final thoughts? Well, I think it's pretty obvious that I am disappointed. I feel like, and I'm kind of just reiterating what you saw in those demos and in those check-ins, I felt like I was shinier with the new formula. I felt like it emphasized texture. Third, I did not find it to be as long wearing as the original double wear. Not even close on that first day. I was wowed when I looked in the mirror at the end of the first day. Or was it even the end of the first day? I don't even think it was a full day. I did find that it felt slightly more lightweight. So with that said, if you are someone who did not like the original formula, maybe you felt it was too heavy. Maybe you felt like you just needed to do so much skin prep in order for it to work. For whatever reason you disliked the old formula, I think there's a good chance you will actually love the new formula. I think it's going to get a lot of good reviews, and I've seen it get a lot of good reviews so far, but most of the reviews I've seen have been from content creators, beauty influencers in their 20s and 30s, a couple in their 40s, but with more normal to dry skin. I do feel like, and this is kind of strong language, Estée Lauder has hung us oily girls out to dry. We no longer have a foundation that we can either use alone or mix in with other foundations to give us that longer wear time. I will say that I never found, and it was proven in the side-by-side demo, the original double wear to be that shine controlling. I still got shiny with it, but it was the long wear that I loved. And in those areas, like around my nose and in this area and the chin, that oily skin tends to eat. It tends to eat the foundation that's in the T-zone, because even though we might be oily all over our face, most of us have the excess oil through the T-zone. Just like with a combination skin, you might be dry around the perimeter and you only get oily through the T-zone. So yeah, I never really felt like it was my go-to for shine control, but the longevity was always there. Now you might be asking, what do we do? If we can no longer count on Estée Lauder double wear to give us that longevity that we were looking for, what foundation is next best? Well, everyone's skin is different, and I can sit here and tell you what I use and what I love, but I already know it's not going to be for everyone. Where you live can be a factor in how a foundation wears on you, especially if you're oily. I live in a dry climate in Las Vegas. So if a foundation doesn't get super oily on me, well, let's be real, most foundations get oily on me because my skin is that oily. But if I were to go to a humid climate, it would be a lot worse. So some of my current favorites are the MAC Studio Fix Fluid, the Tier Red Cushion Liquid Foundation, the Maybelline Superstay Skin Tint, and I've also been testing out and really loving this foundation from Nude by Nature. And I will have all of those listed and linked down below in the description box of the video. I will also tag some of my favorite oil controlling primers. L'Oreal has some good ones. Maybelline has a good one, not only for shine control, but also for pore refinement or pore minimizing, pore smoothing, because as you saw in that demo, one of my biggest issues with the new formula is that I felt like it really accentuated my pores, even after powdering with an airbrush powder. So yes, I will have all of my recommendations down below in the description box. I would also love it if those of you watching, if you have a holy grail foundation for oily skin, or even if you don't have oily skin and you've simply found another foundation that looks beautiful all day long, you can wear for 24, 36 hours. I never wear my foundation for that long, but I know there are people that do. Maybe it's for their job or whatever the reason might be. If you know of a really long wearing foundation that stays true to color, that doesn't accentuate texture. Just throw your recommendations out there in the description, not in the description box, in the comment section, so we can all have a nice list of foundations to try if you're like me and you're just not happy with the new formula Estée Lauder Double Wear. That's gonna do it. I have spoken my piece. I've said all I can say. And if you did enjoy this video and found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you are interested in more content like this, I do post new makeup tutorials, reviews, favorites videos at least twice per week. You can also find me over on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. My username is the same on every platform. It's Risa Does Makeup. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video.